So as you all know, we got some huge changes when it comes to weapon balancing with the Season 4 update, and in this video we're going to be going over what are the 6 best close range SMGs inside Warzone at the moment. If you do enjoy this style of content, don't forget to subscribe as we're trying to reach our goal of 50k. Also, I do want to put a quick disclaimer out that most of our stats videos now will have stats in the title so that everyone knows which videos include the TTK numbers and all that kind of stuff and which videos don't. And also don't forget to leave a like on this video if you do enjoy. So as always, the first thing we want to do is actually go through the TTK numbers, go through all the stats, and see what is the fastest killing guns. Now, I do want to quickly mention we've actually changed all of our TTKs now to the mixed shot locations. So as you can see here, this is the actual percentage shots for every single shot location. So it's 14% head, 36% chest, 19% stomach. Now, these shot locations are actually based off of my specific stats, and then every other shot is just basically on the limbs because that is where you're more likely to land your shots anyway. So just make sure you keep that in mind. I'm a 1.4 KD player, and this will just be consistent going forward now with the overall stats. Now, when it comes to the actual TTK numbers, like I said, we managed to get this with 300 HP, of course, and we've got the new guns in here as well. We've got the Macro 5 and a Macro 5 Akimbo in here as well. Now, when it comes to SMGs, obviously the main reason everyone uses SMGs is for close range. So we're mainly focusing on that first damage drop-off point, and we're going to arrange it from A to Z so we get the fastest TTK up first. Now, as you can see here, we've got the Macro 5 and Akimbo. Obviously, the builds we'll go over in just a moment. We've got the Type 100 still, so even though it got a bit of a nerf of certain attachments having a slower rate of fire, also some damage profile things getting changed, it's still a solid weapon in terms of TTK, so you can still definitely use it. Again, we'll go over the build for that. Then we've got the Vanguard Macro 5 again, but this is the single fire build for this weapon. So as you can see, the Macro 5 is a pretty broken gun at the moment, so a lot of people will be using it. In terms of the Akimbo build though, I do want to mention that you're not likely to get this 401 TTK because it's hip fire. You're going to be missing a lot of bullets as well. Then we've got the Armageddon. I did mention that Armageddon is probably going to be the main meta SMG inside Warzone at the moment, and I kind of stick by that because the TTK actually got a huge buff, but on top of that is very easy to use. Sten, overall solid gun as well. TTK is solid, but on top of that is one of the fastest moving guns in the entire game. So again, definitely a good gun as well. So we've got a whole bunch of options when it comes to SMGs, especially the Vanguard ones, of course. Then we've got the Blexin. The build has changed slightly on the Blexin, but still a solid TTK weapon. So definitely still a good weapon there. You've got the Tommy gun, which kind of has a bit of really bad recoil, so it's not really a good option. The PPSH is a solid hipfire build if you do want to use it. Then we've got the Modern Warfare Fennec. We've got the MP40 from Vanguard, which is a low recoil option, but again, definitely still a solid gun. Modern Warfare AUG has got a good TTK. Owen gun's kind of dropped down quite a bit now, so it's not really all that useful. Nail gun, not really that good because the mag's too small. CX9, and then we've got the well gun as well. So now let's get into the builds for these guns, and we're starting off with the new Macro 5 SMG, and we'll give you both of the builds for this gun in this video because, let's be honest, the single fire and the Akimbo version of this gun are both pretty solid at the moment. So when it comes to the single fire version of this gun, you can use this build right here, which is the recoil booster for the faster fire rate, the body barrel, which is going to give you a faster fire rate and obviously that quickest possible TTK, but you could also go for the Imreto barrel, which will actually give you better recoil control. Now, the TTK up close with this barrel in particular is going to be 595 milliseconds, which is about 40 milliseconds slower than the body barrel. So if you just prefer that extra recoil control, it's still a solid time to kill, but it's nowhere near as fast as it is with the fire rate barrel, of course. Slate Reflector is going to be the best option. I usually use this on most of my SMGs. Stock, the stock you do want to use is the Perfecto stock, and this is going to give you the best possible recoil control for this gun, especially in single fire. Obviously the build changes with Akimbo. Then for perk, the perk 1 slot, you could choose whatever you want really, other than Akimbo, of course, because this is a single fire build. Frenzy is not too bad. You get health regeneration after kills. Gung Ho is okay. Momentum's okay as well. And then obviously discard, which is reload quickness, is okay as well. I was mainly looking for some kind of movement attachment, but I mean, you don't really get that with this gun. Perk 2, you want to use quick as always. The rear grip taped is now absolutely broken when it comes to movement speed. You get like a 10% movement speed boost with the tape grip, so it's absolutely insane. So definitely tape grip or the fabric grip or even the polymer grip, all three of these are solid options now. It's just going to depend on personal preference. If you need the extra recoil control, go for the polymer. If you like the better ADS times, go for the fabric. And if you want faster movement, go for the taped. All three of these are very good. Magazine, 48 round drums are the best. The other one's going to slow you down way too much, so there's no real reason to use anything else. Lengthened, or you can go for subsonic if you really want to. And then the hand stop underbarrel solid, but you can also go for the skeletal underbarrel because it now also helps with movement speed as well. So you want to have like insanely fast movement speeds, then you can take the skeletal as well. But I'd rather have the recoil control on this gun, let's be perfectly honest. We will need it because of those two barrels. Now we have the hipfire build for this gun, which is again very similar, so not really too much has changed here. You're still using the body barrel, you're still using the recoil booster because we need the fastest TTKs of course, but we're now using hollow point instead of lengthened because the extra bullet velocity is not going to do anything for us. You could use subsonic, but I'd rather have the extra limb damage to keep it more consistent. Pine tar grip is going to help with the hipfire accuracy and the recoil control, which in turn also helps the hipfire accuracy. Akimbo, of course, quick for the better movement, of course, and then the body folding stock, which is going to help with hipfire accuracy and sprint to fire. And then when it comes to optic, you could choose whatever you want that's going to help you with extra accuracy. For example, you could choose one of the kind of large scope optics, which help with accuracy and recoil control. So that will help you out a little bit there as well. But overall, this is definitely a solid gun, doesn't matter which way you build it. At number 5, we have the MP40. This gun just overall is a very consistent gun to use. It's super easy to control when it comes to the recoil. TTKs are pretty decent. I mean, it's not the best, but overall it can act as a very good sniper support. And after the recent sniper buff, when it comes to the flinch resistance, I do think this gun is absolutely solid as a sniper support as well. So you do want to use the recoil booster for the faster fire rate. The short barrel is actually the best at giving you kind of the most consistent and the best TTKs. So definitely try and go for that one. If you need the extra recoil control, you can go for the Krosnick barrel. Both are pretty solid. Slate reflector, the folding stock or the remove stock, it just depends on if you need the extra recoil control. So then you would go with the folding. If you're better off with the movement speed, then go for the remove stock. Steady is going to help in terms of the ADS strafing speeds. Then we've got quick for better movement. Taped grip once again for the movement speed, but you can go for the fabric or the polymer as well in this case. Grenko 45 round mags is the best for the MP40, nothing's changed here. Lengthened, and then the hand stop underbarrel for the better recoil control. But once again, you can go for the skeletal in this case as well for better movement speeds. On the MP40 actually is a pretty solid option to be fair, because this gun doesn't really have too much recoil, so you can go for the skeletal there if you'd rather have the movement speed. But overall, the MP40, you can't really go wrong. At number 4, we have the Blexin SMG, and the Blexin is a solid gun, but you do need to change your build to make this gun actually work. So not too much has changed, but a slight adjustment you do need to make to get that faster TTK once again. So recoil booster as always. When it comes to the barrel, now you can use the initial barrel, but you can also use no barrel. That will give you the fastest possible TTKs. I would personally recommend no barrel because that initial barrel gives you more vertical recoil, and it also gives you a con to bullet velocity, so you don't really want that. Even though it does help with the side-to-side recoil, it isn't a huge benefit. So I would personally just go with no barrel. I think that's the best way to go with this. Slate reflector, remove stock, or you can use the MB stock. Both are solid options. Then we're using fleet for better movement speeds. You can use steady or perfectionist as well. All three of those are solid. When it comes to perk 2, quick again as always. Taped grip for the better movement speeds and weapon swap quickness. You can go for fabric or polymer if you need the extra recoil control. Then we've got the 54 round mags, which is still the best mags to use for this gun. We've checked dsym.gg website, it still is the best option. Lengthened, and then the hand stop underbarrel, or once again you can use the skeletal underbarrel if you need the movement speed. But personally I think you need the recoil control because you're not really using any barrels on this gun. But overall, next up we have the Sten at number 3, and it's on here for probably not the reasons you think, even though the TTK is very competitive, as I've shown earlier on in this video. The main reason it's on here is because of its absolutely insane movement speeds right now. This gun is completely broken when it comes to movement speeds in this game, especially with this particular build. So the overall build you do want to use the recoil booster for the faster fire rate. You want to use the rapid barrel for the faster fire rate, and you also want to use the Grenko mags for the faster fire rate. Now, this is in turn going to give you that fastest possible TTK with this gun. Now, every other attachment we're using here is to boost the movement speed of the weapon, so we're definitely going for the skeletal underbarrel for the movement speed bonus. You also get aim down sight bonus. We're using the tape grip. This is going to give you that movement speed bonus, sprint to fire speed bonus, and also aiming stability as well, which isn't really too important, but again, this is definitely going to help you get that super quick movement. Acrobatic is going to help an absolute ton in giving you that movement speed because it's just insane. And then we've got quick for the sprint speed. We've got the Guine para barrel again for the movement speed. Slate reflector, which is standard for any SMG build I use now. And then lengthened, subsonic, or even hollow point. You could choose whatever one you want. But overall, this gun is absolutely rapid in this game right now. So definitely give it a go because the movement speeds are broken. At number 2, we have the Type 100 once again. Now, even though this gun got a bit of a nerf, and still don't think it's probably going to be a completely solid option, especially in quads and with the increased health now, because the mag size is a bit too small, but it still has one of the fastest possible TTKs at close range. So if you get in a 1v1 gunfight, you're almost 100% of the time going to win with the Type 100, which is absolutely insane. So I have to still put it on the list. So you do need to use the recoil booster for the faster fire rate. You do still need to use the rapid barrel, even though the fire rate got a bit of a nerf with this barrel, it's still going to be the best option to use. Then you want to use the slate reflector, which is, like I said, standard for any SMG build. The skeletal stock, which is the best for movement. Acrobatic, which once again is the best for movement. You do not need vital on this SMG. It only helps with your TTKs by about 10 milliseconds, which isn't a huge difference, and considering it's the fastest killing SMG still in the game anyway, you don't really need it. Perk 2 is quick as always. Polymer grip for the recoil control, which you do need on this gun, unfortunately. If you think you could control the recoil of this gun, you can go for that fabric grip, or you can go for the tape grip, but I do still think you need the polymer for this weapon. 36 round mags, I mean, I wish it was 40, but regardless, it is the best for that TTK. You can go for lengthened, you can go for subsonic, you can go for hollow point here, and then the hand stop underbarrel for the recoil control. Again, I do still think you need that recoil control in the Type 100 because it is a harder weapon to use. But overall, it's the fastest killing SMG in the entire game right now, so definitely a solid option. Last but not least, at number 1, we have the Armageddon 43. This is my favorite SMG to use since it's been added in. But on top of that, I actually got a damage buff and as well a TTK buff. And now this gun is definitely, by far and away, the best SMG to use inside this game right now. You're going to get super good recoil control. You're going to get consistent TTKs. Just overall movement speed's good as well now with that tape grip buff. So overall, you want to use the recoil booster for the faster fire rate. You want to use the body barrel for the better damage. You actually got a damage buff with the recent update. Slate reflector, folding stock for the better movement speeds. Steady, so we get the better strafing speeds. Then we've got perk 2 as quick for better sprint speed. Tape grip, obviously, because it's got a huge buff now and the movement speeds are absolutely insane with this. So definitely go for that. It's going to help with other things like sprint to fire as well. Then we've got the 60 round mags, which is obviously what you need to use. Lengthened, again, hollow point, or you can go for subsonic as well. And in the hand stop underbarrel, I still think is needed in this case. You can actually go for the skeletal again to give you better movement speeds. Both are really solid options because this gun doesn't really have too much recoil anyway. So you can go for either or. I still prefer the hand stop underbarrel personally. So there we have it. Those are the 6 best SMGs to use after the Season 4 update. If you do enjoy this video, don't forget to subscribe as we try to reach our goal of 50k, and click that link and subscribe to our second channel. Thank you very much for watching.